sometimes hustle is better than flash.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've suffered a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at husbandandwifelawteam.com. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today for free by downloading that Circle K app. Sometimes you have to make a statement in life. Sometimes you have to say, you know what? This is an opportunity to show who I am, what I stand for, what I believe, even if some people say, you know what? It doesn't fit the mold. I've been there in life. I think you've probably been there in life too. And this weekend, Mat Ishbia and Devin Booker did just that at All-Star Weekend in LA. They said this is Phoenix Suns basketball, and whether this weekend is predicated on glitz and glamour and star power and dunks and flashiness, we're going to go out there and we're going to do everything in our power to prove what it means to be a Phoenix Sun and interest a lot of you, both fans and players that weekend, in playing with this team. Mat Ishbia was first on Friday night, and I never thought I'd actually give a damn about an NBA celebrity game. Quite frankly, usually I couldn't care less. Like, I really don't care what vloggers and freaking influencers and reality TV stars are out there making jackasses of themselves on Friday night. But Mat Ishbia was in that celebrity game, and I said, you know what? I got to see what a 46-year-old a person can go out there and do, a guy that owns an NBA team that played college basketball. I'll watch it for that. Let's see. Maybe he can entertain me. I'll probably turn it off after the first quarter. Nope. I actually watched the whole damn celebrity game, even though there were a bunch of no-names playing in it and a million gimmicks. Because he went out there and did exactly what he asked his team to do, exactly what he said the Phoenix Suns would do. And he went out there and actually somehow tried to make the city of Phoenix proud, the state of Arizona, every Suns fan around the globe proud by simply going out there and trying to outwork some of these people that shouldn't have been on a basketball court. He looked like Jordan Goodwin getting rebounds against Taco Fall. He was doing all sorts of things that he asks this team to do. He dove. I thought he broke his face. I think it was in the fourth quarter. Slammed his face off the court, diving for a basketball. He looked like that guy at the YMCA that everybody overlooks and then goes out there and kicks everybody's ass because he's just going to play hard. I loved it. I mean, let's take a look, Kevin, if we can, at this shot. He's getting double teamed by both the Memphis Grizzlies mascot and then Taco Fall. And he hits a jumper over, I believe Taco Fall's like 7'8". He hits the jumper. Sure, he falls down. He hits the book pose and then stumbles a little bit. But then he hustles back and gets a tip away from Taco Fall. Like, he had no fear going up against an NBA and a foreign overseas player in Taco Fall and trying to get rebounds from him, doing all these little things. I loved it because that's what Suns basketball is about. You don't think that, Giannis, who was coaching, some of these NBA players that were on the sidelines didn't take note of the owner that went out there and played in a way that they all could have respect for? This isn't some billionaire that doesn't know what he's doing just out of the boardroom, that doesn't understand ball. He showed he can play. He showed he knows ball. That wasn't all, though. Devin Booker, a guy that just took massive amounts of crap about being in the three-point contest because he was shooting sub 30% this year, in a rough year from deep, but taking care of business in other ways. People were like, why is this guy in the three-point contest? They acted like it was some insult to the sanctity of All-Star Saturday, which has no sanctity. Let's be very clear about that. And then, He went out and put on a show, and in the first round, dominated, dropping 30. We got that score graphic, Kevin. Let's take a look at what Devin Booker did. I mean, he had 30. He said his personal best. He said, hey, Con Knipple, rookie with the weird name, you can sit there on the bench and enjoy the fact that I just kicked your ass. You had 27, I went 30. I put a 30 ball on the scoreboard in round one, and I showed these guys what it takes. Oh, by the way, also, the NBA wanted him to wear the purple jersey. They were having all the teams wear that version of jersey, and Devin Booker said, no, give me the statement. Give me the Suns black jersey. I'm rocking that at All-Star Saturday, and did it anyways because he's a badass in that. Now, yes, I know he came up one shot shy in the second round, but still put on a clinic in those first handful of racks. He went perfect. And his shooting form was as good as ever. And I still argue that the NBA script simply said that he had to lose because you needed Dame Lillard, a guy who hasn't played. Oh, my God, look at this. First guy since 93 who hadn't played a minute since Craig Hodges did it because he was blackballed and came out and hit. Who cares? Dame Lillard, yeah, you can enjoy it. But Devin Booker was the star of that three-point shooting contest when you watched it. He knew exactly what he was doing. He went out there, and guess what? He put on a show like he always does. The I'll do it mentality. Went out there for the NBA and did it. Oh, but how about Sunday? All-Star Sunday in the weird format that actually worked. Devin was part of the USA Stars group, not the Stripes, the Stars against the Stripes in the world. And Devin Booker went out there and took that mentality again, the I'll do it. Do we have those stats from the 3 games that he played, Kevin? Look at this. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists in 28 minutes. He said, I don't need to score. I know I can. After the game, he said, when I'm out there, I think I'm the best player. Well, guess what? He did everything out there on the court for this team. He messed around, almost got a triple-double. Great assist, getting rebounds, scored when he had the opportunity. Devin Booker went out there and proved exactly what the mentality of this team is. Anybody, anytime, by out-hustling guys. Devin Booker showcased that and showed what makes him such a damn good teammate as well. Look around, right? You got to imagine that every single one of those All-Stars looked at it and thought, maybe Devin Booker is a guy that I want to play with. It's a recruiting pitch. Now, I don't know that the Suns will ever go after big names like that again, but it's a recruiting pitch, and it was pretty damn impressive. Oh, and then his best moment. He played, Secret Service there protecting a former president from Nikola Jokic trying to dive into the stands and wound up getting dapped up. We got the 3 image too. Look at this. Shoves Nikola Jokic and then daps up a former president before he passes the ball in. Your superstar doing that? Your superstar playing Secret Service, showing he's licensed for skill there? No, he's not. The Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker and Mat Ishbia did a little of everything in All-Star Weekend. They said, you know what? This is who the Phoenix Suns are. This is what we stand for. This is how we're going to play regardless of what the situation is. And I loved it because it may pay big dividends on the back end. And if not, it just solidified where the 2 leaders of that franchise did it on a meaningless weekend. It solidified exactly what they want the mindset of every single individual when it comes to this franchise to be. And I got to give them a huge round of applause for that, because in a weekend where effort is usually very, very slim, that people aren't doing it, the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and Mat Ishbia had it in boatloads this weekend. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome the Dreads behind the desk. Kevo to the program. Kevo, how are you?
Back-to-back losses for my squad. Never good, but my weekend was fine, Espo.
Hey, U of A needed a few losses before the tournament. I think it's a big thing, a good thing for you. But what did you make of the Suns in NBA All-Star Weekend?
I mean, dare I say, NBA All-Star Weekend was fun.
It was back.
It was kind of fun. You had a
the
Arizona
dunk
Wildcat
still
dunk
sucks.
contest. Hey, now watch it. Hey, watch it. Keshad Johnson deserved it. Doing all the dances, brought some flair. But no, in all seriousness, the actual All-Star game was fun. The format felt kind of fresh. It felt like the players were into it. It felt like Wemby specifically came out and like set a really great like competitive tone out there. So yeah, it was all around an actual fun All-Star game. I think I would enjoy.
And Stacker 1 in the chat. You're from New Jersey? You want to come out for All-Star? Let me talk to us. We'll figure out how to help you snag some tickets when those become available. Kevin, I didn't dismiss you yet. Yeah, you bring the sun back. You weren't dismissed yet. I want to ask your question. Dunk contest. I know it had a U of A flair, so it made you feel all warm and fuzzy about it. But can you admit it needs a little juice before next season when it's here in Phoenix?
Yeah, no, it definitely needs some juice. And I think, like, more importantly, you need some legitimate star power in there. I love Carter Bryant. I love Keshad Johnson. I don't know if the average like NBA viewer really cares about Keshad Johnson or Carter Bryant. I hope they do. But I don't know they do.
Nobody knew who those guys were.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's be fair.
You need like some real star power to really bring back the dunk contest, and I think it's the only thing that can truly do that.
So look, I've got the fix for it. If you're interested.
Okay.
Here's my pitch, and Adam Silver, you can listen as well. We do away with the players for next year in a dunk contest. Just totally no players. We do mascots. Leading up to the dunk contest, we have a 1v1 tournament that gives us the final 4 mascots that deserve to make it. We make it a social media thing. Then we bring those mascots to NBA All-Star Weekend, and anything goes. Trampolines, rings of fire, whatever you want. We do a mascot dunk contest to try to bring back some juice, bring back some excitement, make it for the kids, which is what All-Star Weekend really should be about. And people are going to watch that. What if they set a Kia on fire and one of the mascots dunks over it? You don't think people are going to enjoy that? You don't say, hey, we're gonna do one up on Blake Griffin. Flames coming out of the car, dunking over it. People are gonna watch that. I'm telling you. It could be a one-year thing, but people are gonna watch the mascots bring out all the insanity and dunk, because players, they're running out of unique dunks. We saw what was it? Jace Richardson, is that his name? Almost knock himself out on his dunk attempt. Like, you can't tell me that's not going to scare some guys from trying some crazy things. So give me the mascots. They're not going to care. They'll do anything.
I don't know, Espo. I don't know, because I don't know how interested I am in that, to be honest with you.
What if the mascots are it, but then we find out there's players inside of the mascot uniforms.
Now you stumbled onto something, so like a masked. It's the masked singer, the masked dunker.
Yes, so it's the masked singer and the dunker.
Now this is interesting.
So then it's mystery dunkers. You don't know who it is.
Yeah, that I can get behind.
Right,
I actually love that idea.
So then, I mean, when you reveal an NBA player who just won, I'm in.
I think we just combined fix the dunk contest.
I think we fixed
the masked dunker.
The masked dunker.
Wow.
And we find out who wins right then and there. Give it that's the way. That's how you make it more intriguing here in Phoenix next year. One other thing I want to talk about, we saw the logo get revealed for next year's All-Star game, and yeah, there it is. It's the NBA logo, All-Star 2017 in purple, and then it says Phoenix in the Suns font with the sunburst that is cooler than the regular sunburst. Gradient, more purple outline. I hope this actually might be a preview of a logo change for them. I'd be all in on this logo, but overall, as an NBA All-Star logo, it sucks ass. Let's just be honest. We've seen some of the best looks in NBA All-Star history in 95, in 2009 here in Phoenix, and then the NBA's decided they're going to a total generic, boring, let's do what they did with the Super Bowl logo crap, when the NBA used to be the exciting innovator. I don't need corporate minimalism in my All-Star game logos. I need true, actual, interesting logos for it. Bring that back. Shaft says, from the Gong Show, the unknown dunker. Hey, Chucky baby, got any pictures of your wife? This is a whole Gong Show reference. Would you like some? God, the student center used to overflow for that show. Shaft, we are seeing your age show here. I don't even remember the Gong show, but respect to you. Brandon wants a Legends dunk contest. Are we going to lower the rims to 8 feet? Like bringing Larry Nance, Tom Chambers, Jason Richardson from the Suns, Amari, and do we lower the rims 9 feet maybe?
That could potentially get sad.
Somebody gets hurt there.
Yeah, that could get
somebody
sad.
somebody gets hurt. Maybe a Legends 3-point contest, but even that, I'm not sure I want to watch Larry Bird try to hit that many 3-pointers at this stage. Kind of sad. Well, big thank you to all the bias in the chat: Brandon, Shaft, Deborah, N Stacker, One, hello, Kara, everybody that's in here. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. Become a supporter club member today. I want that likes up to 30, or let's go 40 before the end of this program. You guys got this. I know how passionate you are. Hit that like button like it's a Lakers fan, all right? We know how you feel about Lakers fans. Let's make it happen. On the other side of the break, I'm welcoming in a man that has been doing the Lord's work when it comes to Suns blogging, Suns Twitter, Suns podcasting for a very, very long time. And he is a pyramid that we're going to debate about right after halftime. Got to tell you about the husband and wife law team. If you have had a serious accident, you need to do your research before you hire a lawyer. And I'm going to tell you where that research is going to lead you. It's going to lead you right to Mark and Alexis Pryor, the husband and wife law team, because they are the best at doing it. They are part of the 1% of lawyers that are certified in serious injury and wrongful death law. Plus, they're going to be upfront with you. They're going to tell you the strengths and the weaknesses of your case. They're going to allow you to talk to your lawyer anytime. I had a case where I could not get in touch with my lawyer at all. It was the most stressful thing following the most stressful event I had experienced with my family. But they guarantee that you'll be able to. Plus, you can cancel at any time, and they promise that you're going to get more in your pocket than they do for their fees, even if they have to lower the fee that they charge. Mark and Alexis Pryor and the husband and wife law team take this seriously. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. No, that's not Kevo flying around the parking garage trying to reenact Tokyo Drift. This is Phoenix Raceway, and they have a huge weekend coming up. March 5th through the 8th. It is the NASCAR NTT IndyCar Series weekend, and it's the first time ever that they're racing on the same day, same track. Not at the same time. Safety first, as you all know. I tell you about it all the time. And you can have the greatest experience in all of motorsports where you can walk the garage. You can walk the track as well. You can meet the drivers and catch a pre-race concert. I've done it. It is unbelievable. There's no thing like it in sports. So you can do that at the Desert Diamond Infield Experience. Get your tickets now because they're going faster than the cars will be that weekend. You can use the link in our description. Welcome back in. I hope you enjoyed the Bee Gees playing Staying Alive at halftime because that's what the dunk contest is trying to do, and Kevo and I fix it. Big thank you to the Bee Gees for being here, and a man that doesn't have to stay alive because he's always thriving. It is John Voita from Bright Side of the Sun and Suns Jam Session and my group text and my fantasy basketball league and my fantasy football league. What's up, Voita?
Can you hear me okay? Last time I was
can hear you this time.
Oh, fantastic. So I know how to fix the dunk contest.
How?
Put somebody out there trying to block them. How cool would that be? The best dunks that happen are in-game dunks when somebody is posterized. So you have somebody like Jace Richardson out there, and he's going up against Jalen Duren. Somebody's going to win that battle, and we as fans totally benefit.
How about Taco Fall? The man obviously wants to make a name back in the States. He was in the celebrity game. What is he, 7'8"? Put Taco Fall out there. If you can dunk over Taco Fall, you win.
Mac McClung over Taco Fall, when Taco Fall's trying to stop him, is something I would thoroughly enjoy. Because again, yeah, you need to have names in this contest, and we don't have names anymore. So give us the action. Because Jackson Hayes, what a nerd. That's like the worst dunk I've ever seen in a dunk contest.
I thought maybe slam ball at one point, but I don't see anybody with real creds wanting to do the defender thing though because of the danger. I just
Danger be damned. Give us entertainment.
You don't like our masked dunker idea? Fine.
I like it. But imagine if the masked dunker's out there and he's like, 6'1". You're like, okay, Mac McClung, here he is doing it again. But that's part of it, right? You're voting online, like, who could it be? I see the engagement. I like where you guys are going. I just want the aggression back in the slam dunk contest.
How would we take your idea, but we put the man in a fire retardant suit that you can light on fire? So now you're taking on fire and a defender. Who's not watching that?
Let's do it. I'm watching it. Better than what we saw this past Saturday, that's for sure.
I want to get your thoughts on Devin Booker and Mat Ishbia All-Star Weekend. I said that it put a showcase of just who the Phoenix Suns are, but I wanted your thoughts before we move on to something really interesting that you've put together.
Yeah, I think it was a great weekend relative to Phoenix Suns representation across the board. And, this has been a franchise that over the past couple years has had a bad reputation to the point where people would turn off podcasts and stop watching SportsCenter because there was no reason to do so because the team and the organization, the owner included, would get slammed for the way that they operated or the effort that they put out there. And what we saw this weekend with Mat Ishbia, with Devin Booker, was a prime example of what has changed here in Phoenix. There's a reason to be proud as a Suns fan. There's a reason to enjoy this team. And you saw that on the biggest stage of the NBA season thus far. And that's what ultimately keeps us coming back for more, keeps us engaged as a fan base. And it's nice to kind of hold your head up high because as you interact with other fan bases and you hear them moaning and groaning about issues that they have, you have Mat Ishbia going out there, shooting over Taco Fall, dishing dimes. You got Devin Booker in the three-point contest showing up and then playing, still can't get a triple-double, even in an all-star game. He was so close, but still representing the team well. And while everybody else is kind of frustrated with their team this season, the 2025-26 season, the Phoenix Suns are unbelievably fun to watch and something to be proud of. Probably because no expectations exist, and when those start to exist next year, we'll start being frustrated again. But until then, let's enjoy it.
I feel like it also sent a message not only to current Suns saying, hey, if we're going to go out here and do this in a meaningless exhibition, you can go out there and battle for boards in a regular season game. But I also think it acts as a recruiting tool because you had the entire NBA world watching both those guys go out there and do that. I'm sure some of the Ishbia stuff intrigued some players going, my owner ain't going to be able to go out there. You think James Dolan's going out there and doing any of that? No, James Dolan's ass is too busy playing some crappy music and figuring out how to use facial recognition technology to keep people out of the arena. Like Ishbia went out there. I think that adds a level of intrigue as you go after players as well.
Yeah, and the free agent market's going to be very interesting because, again, Phoenix has always been what I would define as a second-tier destination in the NBA. And to your point, Espo, yeah, when you have an owner like that, somebody who was there, somebody who was around, somebody who engaged, somebody who knows the game and can play the game, when it comes decision time, like Haywood Highsmith had this past weekend, yeah, I'm going to go in Phoenix where, they care about hustle, they care about grit, they care about tenacity, and it's personified from the owner on down. So mission accomplished. Again, all those corporate buzzwords that we heard last year, Mat Ishbia and Brian Gregory, they fed them to us, and we all just kind of sat back with our arms crossed and kind of okay, we'll see. Well, we've seen. And again, a recruiting tool, absolutely. Just try to have those meetings back in Michigan at Ishbia's place because whenever those meetings happen in June, it's 118 out here, and it's never a good look for the Valley.
I think Haywood Highsmith looked at that celebrity game and went, I see myself in this guy. I'm in. Let me sign right now. Something I want to sign on to right now is your Phoenix Suns all-time pyramid. I'm actually jealous that I didn't do this to start and that you beat me to the punch. But why don't you walk us through the methodology here, and then you and I can talk a little bit about what we see here.
Absolutely. So earlier this year, it was probably January, I was sitting in front of my computer, just kind of trying to think of different ways to engage with the fan base and articles to write. And ultimately, an idea hit me, and it's kind of utilizing the methodology from the Bill Simmons book of basketball, right? Like he has his Hall of Fame logic. And now you take that logic and you drop the framework of the 54-year history of the Phoenix Suns, and it's about identifying the 21 best players to ever wear a Phoenix Suns uniform out of the 453 who've donned the purple and orange, and then arranging them in a 6-level pyramid. So top of the pyramid, one player face the franchise. Second level, 2 players. 3 players in the third, so on and so forth. And I went to 6 because I felt like 5 tiers and 15 total players was a little too easy. We have 12 players in the Ring of Honor, so there's not a lot of. And by having the 6th tier, you really start to get into some good conversations, some fan favorites, some biases, some emotions that you felt when you watched a certain player. And that's what this has ultimately been. I've been kind of over the past week releasing tier by tier, day by day for our readers at Bright Side of the Sun. But when it's all said and done, I'll put it into one piece. It's over 15,000 words, and I'm still kind of tweaking aspects of it. And fun fact, if you put this into a book, which I'm thinking of like having Amazon print me a book so I just have it on my coffee table. It's 51 pages, Espo. I've been working on it for like a month and a half, and it's nice. I waited till the All-Star break until there wasn't a lot of things to talk about to start releasing the tiers and engage and create those conversations among the fan base. And mission accomplished. Some people, I had my uncle text me, and he's just like, "Where's Paul Silas? Why not Neil Walk?" I'm like, old heads, man. I love it. Dude, tell me more about it. Tell me why I'm wrong. That's what I want to know. Why am I wrong? Because there's no right answer here.
I don't read, so I'm basing, you could have 15,000 words. I'm looking at this image. That's the way I'm going to consume this. So I lie. I'll probably read you 1,500 or 15,000 words, but we know a lot of people just watch. You've released 3 tiers, and tier 6 is Goran Dragic, Eddie Johnson, Raja Bell, Larry Nance, Stephon Marbury, and Dennis Johnson. Eddie? Does Eddie get the broadcaster bump, or
No.
do you really feel Eddie's handful of years here in Phoenix warranted that spot there?
So this is all player-based, and that's a great point that you bring up there, because in all honesty, if this was Phoenix Suns in their entirety, not just players, but owners, broadcasters, coaches, Al McCoy, in my opinion, sits at the top. But I went purely off the basis of players, and I've already started kicking up new ideas. I need to do a pyramid about, the best nicknames in Phoenix Suns history. I need to do the bottom of the pyramid, the most disappointing Suns. I mean, there's 20 different ways that I could go with this. But Eddie Johnson, in my opinion, if you think about when he was here, he played 222 games. He averaged 18.4 points per game and 4.1 assists. He had the 1 6 man of the year. He finished 3rd in 6 man of the year another year. But it was the fact that you look at what he did and how he did it. In like 88-89, he averaged 21.5 points per game off of the bench. And like he was a part of this kind of, you remember it, I remember it vaguely because I was a kid when it was happening. But that 4 years pre-Barkley, this team was an offensive juggernaut that continually made the postseason, winning over 54 games 4 years consecutively. And Eddie Johnson was a big part of that. And so when I go to that bottom tier, this is where bias starts to come in a little bit. Yeah, my first memories of watching the Phoenix Suns was seeing Eddie Johnson come off the bench. And, dude, the guy just shot and shot and shot and didn't miss. I mean, he over those 222 games he played, he only started 70 of them. This dude was a microwave off the bench.
I agree. The shorts make me question the whole thing, though. Love me some Eddie. Tier 5, Jason Kidd, Connie Hawkins, Tom Chambers, Dick Van Arsdale, and Chris Paul. And then I'll go tier 4 as well. Amari, Westfall, Dan Marley, Alvin Adams. This is where I start having some problems. Dan Marley should not be in tier 4 over Connie Hawkins, Chris Paul, and I'll even say this, Tom Chambers, who, I go back and forth about Tom, but Tom had the all-time franchise lead in points, has the greatest dunk of all time. Dan Marley was a fan favorite. The ladies loved Thunder, but I'm sorry. He's not in tier 4. I think you're insulting Hawkins, Chambers, and Chris Paul for what they were able to do.
So in the case of Dan Marley, I honestly, and again, this is bias-based because I moved back to the Valley in 1994 after growing up in the pits of Los Angeles, right? And so when I came here in 94, Marley was a big deal. I had an uncle who he supported his family of 5 as an artist. The side of U-Haul, you know how they've got like those pictures? Yep. He used to paint those pictures. And on the side of his Blazer, he had Feel the Thunder and a big picture of Thunder Dan that he drew on it. So like I move out to Phoenix, I see that, and I start watching, and I instantly fall in love with who and what Dan Marley was. He was a defensive stalwart. He's somebody who made multiple All-Star games. And one of the things that I find interesting when you start to talk about it in the tiers, and I start to look at some of the statistical levels, is what he did. Like in 94, 95, he knocked down 199 threes. That's only 27 shy of the franchise record that Q Richardson set in 2004. He was doing things way before anybody was doing things. And that alone is like almost this pioneer of sorts is part of the reason why I give it to him. He's somebody who, 3 All-Star selections, 2 all-defensive second teams, finished 3rd in the 6th Man of the Year voting in the early 90s. You know, and again, it's a personal bias thing, and I'll say, you're not wrong. Chambers could be above him. The Hawk probably is. But I like Dan Marley in that, you know, he's the one in if you look at that tier, it's the era-defining stars, right? So he's the one, in my opinion, who assisted in defining that era because KJ and Barkley are further up the list. So I needed someone to kind of define that era. In my opinion, that was Thunder Dan Marley. Feel the thunder.
Connie Hawkins literally put the Suns on the map. He was the first star in franchise history. You want to define an era, it's that man there. And then Chris Paul, you could argue, actually started an era where we got out of the darkness. But your list, your opinion, I can have mine as well. We've got 3 tiers left. You had said we could unveil. I didn't want to mess up the 15,000 words and take the glory away from the website, but that doesn't mean we can't talk a little bit here. You've got franchise pillars, the 3rd tier, organizational royalty, the 2nd tier, and tier 1 face of the franchise. There's only 3 guys you can debate for that face of the franchise: Booker, Nash, Barkley. Am I wrong in debating those 3?
No, you're absolutely correct. It's one of those 3.
Okay. I don't want to ruin it, but Booker is the recency bias here, right? He's a guy that has set the scoring record, has done things we have not seen offensively, has stayed his entire career. He will have more years in a Suns uniform than both Nash, and definitely he already has more than Barkley. Barkley was here like 4 years. So what's the methodology for one for you without giving it away? I don't want you to have to give away your top spot.
It's okay. It's okay to give away. It's okay to give it away, in all honesty, because it's going to be revealed in a couple days, and I really don't care. I love this conversation. This was a tough one for me, Espo, because initially, as I was writing this out in my head, and I think I sent you the graphic before I made my final decision, I had Booker number 1. I did, because I think that when it's all said and done, he will be number 1. But the challenge that I came into as I was really starting to write out my reasoning why is Booker has been here for a long time, and he's done a lot of great things. And my realization was he's the most gifted scorer that we've ever had in the history of the organization. But when you stack his time in Phoenix thus far against what Steve Nash did while in Phoenix, it's really 2 different stories. The compare and contrast, it's Steve Nash easily, because Devin Booker's been with us through a ride. He's been the best player on the team. He's been the 2nd or 3rd best player on the team going back to his early days. Even, the past couple of years with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's a better player. But ultimately, his story be defined by consistent success. Steve Nash's story was defined by consistent success in a way that he changed the league, in the way that he made everyone around him better. He has the 2 MVPs, yes, but it was also the way that he made everybody around him a better basketball player. Raja Bell's not on this list if it's not for Steve Nash. You know what I mean? So Booker, his story's not yet written. In fact, Booker's 29. When Nash came back to Phoenix, he was 30. He set all of his records and put himself at the top of this pyramid based on things that he did after 30 years old. So Devin Booker, in my opinion, he's in the second tier alongside Barkley, who was here, as you mentioned, only 4 years, probably the most meteoric player and had the best individual season as a member of the Phoenix Sun. But we also tend to forget that the last 2 years with him were rather tumultuous, and he was always wanting to retire and injured and baiting us into whether or not we would see him on the court night in, night out. We tend to forget that. But Steve Nash, ultimately, when you look at the MVPs, when you look at the statistics, when you look at his overall...
Oh, it looks like we lost John, but I'll make my point here. I understand that Devin Booker isn't quite there yet, but Steve Nash never made a finals. And Charles Barkley and Devin Booker did. And I feel like that has just as much weight as an MVP does. Obviously, Chuck has an MVP. You could argue that Devin Booker, when he finished fourth in MVP voting, may have actually deserved to be higher on that list, but he split votes with Chris Paul. I think this is a fun debate. I highly recommend you go over to brightsideofthesun.com and check out the entire list and debate it with at Darth Voita if you want to go to him on Twitter or at Brightside of the Sun. So check them out. Check out the list. It's a fun debate, and I'm sure John and I will get into it. Again, that is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. A big thank you to the dreads behind the desk, Kevo. You can follow him at Kevo Post. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, the Phoenix Suns made a statement this weekend, and it's that you got to play hard to actually win. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.